We are here. It's season 10 officially of the Sirtos podcast, which is just absolutely wild. I can't really fathom that we're in the double digits, but we are. And we're here with somebody who finally we're having on. We, been trying for a while to have you here. So grateful that you're here. So without further ado, take it away, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be on here. I'm Georgios Glynatsis. I am the director of the Afieroma dance program in Gainesville. I'm originally from Tarpon Springs, Florida. I'm a full-blooded Kalymnian, so it's lovely to be able to bring Kalymnos to the stage for the past 2 years with Afieroma. And yeah, this is my first year solo directing. Last year, I was helping out Paul with our 2 sets, and that's a brief synopsis.
Super.
Awesome. I was actually wondering where you were from. I wasn't 100% sure. So love that we have Tarpon in the house.
Yeah. I got really lucky growing up in Tarpon, a lot of Kalymnians. And my parents immigrated here, so I've had the opportunity to go there very, very often, feel the culture here, feel the culture there, and now finally spread it a bit more as much as I can now in Gainesville.
That's wonderful.
Before we kind of get into a little bit about directing and kind of the HDF high, because for those of you who are listening, we are recording this less than 24 hours after people probably stopped dancing at HDF, to be honest with you. Because I know that I left for the airport at 4:30 in the morning, and 5 actually is when the Uber came and people were still jamming out. So we're right around that 24, 26 hour mark. Talk to us a little bit about the unique nature of the Gainesville dance group. We had Paul on way back when, almost 5 years ago. So give us a little bit of look into that, the fact that the group is affiliated with college and with church. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So for me, my transition to Gainesville and HDF was very abrupt. Before coming to Gainesville, I had never performed at HDF. I didn't really know what it was. I've been dancing for almost my whole life, Kalymnian and a little bit of Cretan, but it was just a very abrupt change. And I also didn't have almost any exposure to other areas of Greece. I didn't know. I came to Gainesville almost knowing nothing. And I came to Gainesville, and I was lucky enough that Paul was still there because he knows a lot. And so I was able to get a lot of exposure into that. And the thing about Gainesville is that there are so many motivated individuals that go there. The average college student is spending all day and all night with classes, homeworks, everything associated, but yet they all find time to come to many, many hours worth of breakdance because young and very excited about it. So it was a great transition, and in general, it's just a very motivated group that does it because they love it. So that was very different for me because growing up, I didn't have exposure to that level of depth with any other area of Greece beyond Kalymno, really. So it was just a very shocking transition, and I was lucky because the group was the Zarakas dominated. So my first year performing, we had done Koanlero. So that was a nice transition into it, and
that's fantastic. So then how did you move into this current state?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were doing Koanlero in 2024, and after that, we were like, Kalymno would be a very easy transition into. They have some similarities. I was, of course, struggling a bit because oftentimes with the areas that are nearest you, if you know an area well and you try something near, you might see that style when you shouldn't be seeing it. So I remember there were practices where we would be practicing ko, and Paul would be like, okay, start doing variations. And so I would start my Kalymnian slaps, my squats, and Paul would be like, no. So it was very interesting. It was an interesting time. It was a massive learning experience. But we moved into Kalymno the year after, and I played a support role for our sets last year, Kalymno and Kaso. I was there more so behind the scenes, helping out, trying to learn as much as I can about directing in the idea that I would be directing this year. So we did those two sets. And so starting in spring, I was able to take over the group, start practicing, start directing. So by the time August rolled around, I would be able to successfully lead the group. And that's so Kalymno this year came together decently easily. Now, our other set, which was Kremasti Zaraka, that was a massive undertaking for me because even a year ago, I knew nothing about Peloponneso in general, Zaraka in general. But I got very lucky because there is Nico Bariami, and he is an incredible resource. And so when I saw that he was going to Annecy, I was like, I got to go to Annecy. I got to try and learn as much as I can. And eventually that set got put together.
I'm a little bit blown away that you've only been practicing these sets since, in theory, like August. Like I can appreciate that the threads are similar, right? In the Dodekanes and stuff like that. So like the root of the flavor was there, but it's just really surprising to me.
Yeah. College students know how to cram. So
No doubt.
when August rolls around, everybody is going. Even like we probably start practices late August because classes start August 20th or so. And of course, we want new people every year. So when freshmen come in, you're not going to be able to practice with them from the summer, from the spring. So practices really start late August. And from late August until HDF, it's a lot of time, a lot of time. And we, of course, have like 4 weeks worth of break during December. And so we have 4 weeks worth of break and then always a practice. And then a week after is HDF. But this
Wow.
Wonderful stuff is very, very new to me because before a year ago, I knew I never danced anything beyond Zarakas. But with the amount of resources that are out there, anybody can, if they put in a lot of time and a lot of effort, anybody can learn a set well enough.
Absolutely. Now, I'm curious with your college kids, I know you haven't been doing it too long, but what kind of retention do you guys have after, or is it just a constant turnover?
It's more so a constant turnover, so that's why it becomes very difficult. Now, the nice thing about Florida is that we know a lot of Greek people in general in their area, a lot of Greek people. So I have a couple of dancers that are driving from other places just so that they can have the opportunity to dance with us. So we have the people that are in Gainesville. Every year we lose like maybe a third of our group, and then we gain another third. Directorships are also changing, of course. Paul was director for many years because of PhD, but chances are that that won't be the case for many years. So it's just a very moving group. And yet we're still able to maintain the program that was started.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like that, actually. Like, I think there's a lot to be said about succession planning and rolling new people into the director role. There's nothing wrong with directors who stay as directors for many, many years, right? But I think it's actually kind of neat when you have that challenge because it my assumption is people want to continue the group, so they're going to kind of like someone is going to rise into that responsibility and into that role. And I think to your point, like the resources are out there. So even if maybe being a director wasn't on your, like top 10 things to do or whatever, like there are resources there. And, you guys have really proved that because, you're doing good things and you're challenging yourself too. I was actually a little bit surprised when you all did the set from Peloponneso because I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen in the recent years, at least your group do something like that.
Yeah, no,
So I was like,
no.
go on, go. I'm
The
sure at the side of the stage, you probably heard us say like, go on,
The closest thing would be in 2020, Evia was done, but that's not even close. So it was something that was very, very new. But the other thing is that it's nice to change things a little. And the best way, what I've realized, the best way people learn and the people motivate themselves, unfortunately or not, is through competition. And so people are able to put in more effort, and we were able to pull it together in a very short amount of time, but there was a lot of will there. So, and people like change. I mean, I could have very easily tried and put together a double Kalymno set, but it's nice to show something else.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it just makes you a better all around dancer. And I think also, yeah, it's not great losing people, especially let's say, they're dancing all 4 years they've been in college, but then they're gonna go looking, back to their hometowns, whether they're gonna join another group or they might even start their own. Like that's
Yeah,
gotta be really, I think one of the
yeah.
benefits of losing people here, having this turnover.
No, 100%. A lot of directors have gone through Gainesville, and it's a very nice thing that has happened here because you come here, you get motivated, and once you leave and you've lost it, you want to make sure that that continues. And so people go and do that. And so it's just a nice way for the spreading of our culture.
Yeah. I'm
So
literally like in my head, I can like see pictures of people who are in the Gainesville group. Obviously, Paul and Harry and Marty, right? Like those are all like when it comes to my mind, like just the guys who I mean, we haven't had Marty on the podcast, although he did call me the Joe Rogan of Greek podcasters. I'm not really sure what
Yeah,
that means.
that's pretty accurate.
okay, we'll take that as we'll take it as a
Is that a win?
So it's
I don't
definitely it's a
know.
compliment. It's a compliment.
Okay, good. I see Joe Rogan sometimes on Instagram and I'm like,
like
okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm like, how do I get his advertising budget? Anyway, but it's just so neat. It is really neat to see like that ripple effect. And then to see people who have danced with you dance in other dance groups at HDF and stuff like that. Like I think that's cool and I certainly appreciate your comment of like competition drives people to do this stuff. Absolutely. Like it's a means to an end, right? It's like an end point where you're trying to produce a successful outcome. So, and
Yeah.
I think just coming off of the high of HDF, it was such a great weekend. Like it was to me this year had a lot of flavor to it, it just felt different. It felt I don't know how to describe it other than it felt different than last year or previous HDFs. Maybe it was the 25th anniversary. Maybe it was being in New Orleans. Um, but why don't you talk to us about how you all did there?
Because we're college students, we're a very tight knit group. And so we were always together, hanging out. It was only my third year at HDF. The whole competitions thing is still a bit foreign to me. It's still something that I'm trying to grasp because before coming to Gainesville, any form of dancing I had done was solely like for Creed and Silogo events. Those were the only performances. And going to Kalymno, performing there, any form of a lot of Kalymnian events happening in Tarpon Springs. That was my experience. And so for me, dancing never was about the competition, but I see it a lot and it's unfortunate. I mean, it pulls people together, it gets stuff done, but it gets the wrong mentality. A lot of people like if in Gainesville, there's a thought process where if it's not about competition, then I won't be dancing. And
Hmm.
that's an unfortunate side effect. But the people that we did have there really enjoyed it. New Orleans did help because I mean it was just something very new, very foreign. It was more difficult, of course, because for us in Florida, we would love to just drive over
that was
to
great.
Orlando
Yeah.
and do the event. We would have more people there. I mean, it would just be easier. But New Orleans was nice, and I agree with you that this year did really feel different because I don't really know what it was. It just felt more special. They succeeded in doing that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And tell everyone where you guys placed because so we're up on stage and I remember you coming across stage, but I couldn't tell you what you won. It's wild. We can't hear when that happens, like, because we're behind the speakers, right? So we
Yeah,
just see people coming up.
yeah,
And I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but for those of you who are on Fit Committee and Nico, you've done FTF before, like you get how crazy it is. Like tell us
yeah,
the outcome for
yeah.
your group and how
We
that
were we
felt
were very
too.
fortunate. We were able to get platinum, and we were also able to get folk expression for one of our Apocreatica dances in Kremasti.
Congratulations, bravo.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
It
that's
was
huge.
it was
Yeah.
it was a great experience. Now for me, the going to HDF, I I was ready for the competition part to be over because for the past year it was just practicing, learning, trying to master the stuff because for the dancers they need to know the stuff by January. Myself, last January I knew nothing and I needed to have mastered the stuff by August. So it was just a very long experience and I was ready for that to leave my mind to be able to party.
Nice.
Yeah.
I
But
love that.
the Zarakas set was a lot of fun because is something that I know much more, and so that process of mastering something, learning it, teaching it to others, and then performing it on the stage with live music is incredible. And there was also
So cool.
something very new. We started a cappella. We started within the home because in Zaraka they both partied within the home in the neighborhood Portilla and also at Master Panigirya. And there are differences between the styles, the types of dances that they do between those. We started like that, and as the set transitioned, we went into the Panigiri and Kremasti doing what they would do there.
So
Fantastic.
cool. It's really, really cool. How, when you're up on stage, like, what goes through your mind?
I'm the type of person that's always thinking. So
That doesn't shock me in the best way.
for better or for worse, I'm the type of person who's always thinking. And so when I was up there, especially for Zadaka, because that's the one that stressed me a bit more because it was new. There were a lot of moving pieces. How do I go from within the home to within the panigiri, bringing in tables, bringing in dancers, the musicians coming onto the stage? We had Edasi, so practice time is less than with Kalidonakia, which were our Kalymnian musicians that we brought from Tarpon. We were able to practice with them much more, and so it was easier to get things down. And so it was a lot of thinking. However, it was very enjoyable because it was the first time I had danced that type of stuff with live music, and that really is really nice. And afterwards, it's a blur. Afterwards, it's a
Yeah.
complete blur. A lot of emotions coming off of the stage, but it was a really good time.
That's really great of you because there are a lot of people who will just stick to it's like no this is Kalymnos, that's all I do, that's all we do. It's good to be well rounded, and then you find so many wonderful and fun things that you thought like I never thought I could enjoy this, but turns out you have you open yourself up to a whole new world really.
Yep, exactly. And you get to share that with, as a director, you get to share that with
With
dancers that maybe they're like, okay, now I didn't really like Alma, but this stuff I really like. Now I'm going to go dive into this more. And maybe they will be able to do something even more with that in the future.
Exactly, because we all have different tastes, so everyone likes something different. Speaking of, what besides Kalymnos, if there was another top, what's your top area, or is there something that you're really interested now that you're like, oh, I really want to dive into this?
My dream, like being a part of a set, it would either be Southern Dodecanisa. I really enjoyed our Caso set last year. Learning from somebody very experienced in Rhodes or especially Halki, I think that would be very cool. And also learning some more heavy Asia Minor stuff, maybe some Eritrea or some Heel, something along those lines. That's my general area of interest. Now, Peloponneso, Zaraka, going a bit deeper in Peloponneso felt like too much of a stretch for me because once you go deeper into Arcadia, like once you get Clarina, once you get more Tsamika, stuff like that, that was very foreign to me. So Zaraka was a nice transition because their traditional instrumentation is violin and lauto. They don't really dance tamiko, and if they do dance tamiko, it's very basic stuff. And so it was a nice transition more into mainland. And so I would really like, though, to learn some more Peloponneso.
That's so neat. Halki is awesome.
Kalki is awesome. It's very fun. Very fun.
It is. And I think it's the type of place. I have some people that I grew up with who are from there.
Yeah.
Their mom was born in Casos and then kind of like grew up in Halki, which is just kind of interesting. Like you go from like one pebble of an island to another pebble of an island, but it's just kind of how the family went. I think, like, I remember reaching out to her because Paul had asked me, like, if I knew anybody who knew anything about Halki. And I didn't really get that far because she's like, I don't really know. She's like, growing up, we just learned like Casiotico dances, right? Like she knew like Susta and she knew this, like, and for those of you who don't really know Casos, one, go back and look at HDF 2025. for the Gainesville Caso set because it will give you a really good idea. But things are different there. Like the way they do Susta is very different than even Karpathos, which is their next door neighbor. It's like actually very hard to do it if you know Carpathian Susa. But I think for Chalki, it's the type of place that the traditions are really, really fragile because there's not a lot of people who live there still. And I feel like y'all would have to go like stay there for like a few weeks and just kind of meet people. And that's probably how you're going to uncover what they consider to be like their traditional dances, or their traditional like flair attached is that, might look strikingly similar to like dances from Casos or Rhodes, but, like what makes it from Halki.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
just,
mean,
it's very interesting.
some areas of Greece are very fortunate in the researchers that they have, people that are able to really put their culture out there and be able to preserve it. One of those places being Zaraka, for example, where it's widely accessible. But once you go like down there in like Kaso, Halki, things get very, very difficult because these are tiny, tiny areas. So I fully agree with you with a place like Halki. You'd have to go over there and you'd have to go over there as soon as you can because in like 15, 20 years, you don't know what's going to be going on.
I would say even less than that.
Yeah.
I have this
Yeah.
conversation all the time with a number of people I know who do research, and it's honestly, you gotta
Yeah.
strike while the iron's hot, aka all people are still alive.
Correct.
Right. Yeah. That's
100%.
wild.
But I would love, if I have the opportunity one day down the road to do a little trip like that, it would be wonderful. But I mean, things have already changed so much. And so even nowadays, I know it can be incredibly, incredibly difficult to try and do something as authentic as you can. Like even within Kalymno, after and nowadays, both Susta and Iso are with hands up. Everybody does the forward step for Iso. Everybody does the leader variation for Susta. It's very, very mobile even to this day. But the thing is that things were always pretty mobile. So in maybe 100 years, the things that are done today in Kalymnos might be seen as traditional
Very possible.
in the
Yeah.
other area.
Yeah. Well, and this is a conversation that I think has come up with through like a different lens. Like people, even this year, and Nico, I don't know how much of HDF you caught on the YouTubes, but like people were representing like ladies in some of their kind of period pieces. And it's just interesting because it's like, well, what is the limitation to where something becomes a period piece or something becomes a noun? You know what I mean? Like, so it's just, and who knows, like what the judges' comments will be, so on and so forth. And perhaps they were representing that time period a little bit more in like the way they dressed as opposed to how the dances were portrayed then, right? But at some point in time, like George, to your point, like we're going to be reflecting on like the 90s as a period piece or the 2000s, or it'll be interesting to see if we start to see in how people direct like what I perceive as a little bit of like a resurgence of Greek dance in Greece. Because I think it's always been there, but it's certainly a little bit more widespread, or there's more studying of it. Like you see the Silogi through
Yeah.
social media, these different like conferences over the summer, and not just like Riza's Fest, which is a little bit more like pop or modern, but you see like these huge festivals in Greece kind of popping up. So it'll be interesting to see if that spark that we're kind of sensing and from the Greek dance world in Greece transposes into what people bring to stage too.
Yeah.
Like that influence.
Yeah. And
That'll be
it's
really
not
interesting.
only time periods, it's also the types of dances because there's some dances that unfortunately or not, some people consider as like less traditional because maybe there were a bit more modern dances, maybe because somebody made them. So like with Galimno, it's unfortunate to me to hear, but like if you do mechanical, things might not be as good for you. Certain judges might be like, that's not very traditional. That's a made
Hmm.
up dance that shouldn't be on the stage. But when you ask any Kalymnian, that is key to their culture because it's all about the sfugarades, it's all about the struggle. And so I remember learning before like a year ago, I had never touched the dance because it's very, very difficult to try and lead. But I tried it for the first time a year ago. We had John Pepys come over to Gainesville, and he did a Kalymnian workshop for us, and it was incredibly emotional. And so when I hear about judges that don't consider that traditional, for example, it saddens me, because if dance doesn't continue to evolve, and we don't continue to, even to this day, we have traditional songs being made. If that doesn't happen, then sure, you've been able to maintain what you had, but you're also losing something, because you don't know what could have happened if you tried doing new things.
Yeah.
True.
hmm Fair
It's a
point.
good point.
And so that's one
Yeah.
of the difficulties with HDF, because I wasn't used to competition, and now it feels like there's a small strain on what exactly you can do. If I was to try and do an 80 set, and I had Iso and Shusta with hands up, as would be done, how would that be perceived? If I
Yeah.
tried, and so it becomes difficult. It becomes difficult.
It's one of those, yeah, that's that love-hate relationship,
Yeah,
because you're doing everything around the performance and you say, this dance is just, it's a wonderful dance. I want to show it off or whatever, or, bring it to HDF, FTF, yet, because it XYZ reason, it won't score well, so we won't do it. So, and it's just, it's, yeah, it's the nature of the beast. It's comes with the territory, but we have to, again, be grateful that, I mean, this is what has fueled people's motivation to dive deeper in, and we've been able to save things because of this. And that's, it's the checks and balances. It's the pros and the cons. But yeah, it really does make it very frustrating as someone, especially when you're emotionally tied to something like that,
yeah,
with a goal. Absolutely. You're like, what do you mean?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, can't even think. It's like telling people that Ugatsia weren't real in up in Veria and Urumluki. It's just like, no, this stuff all happened. Like, it was tradition that brought it down. Yeah,
yeah, 100%. And no, we are able to maintain stuff, even because even with the small limitations. I mean, this year, trying to teach, we did Evreopula for Kalymno. Trying to learn how to teach a dance like that was very difficult for me, because Evreopula, especially in Kalymno, is an incredibly free-form dance. There's no real step to it. And so when you have dancers who have never touched that type of stuff, teaching it is almost impossible. Which is why you rarely see it, especially in like younger categories. I mean, with like to teach something like that, you need to have been trying at Evropula for over, I don't know, 20 years, trying to master it, and at that point you'll be amazing. But trying to do a freeform dance like that is difficult, and so that's the type of thing. But if we don't have it, then it just gets lost.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's also kind of cool to get people to that point of free forming, because even at the Landia, like there were definite times where it was like just like just do your thing. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not talking like Zebekika, right? Like just dance, just know the root of the step and turn it into what feels good to you. So I think that's kind of it's an important thing to teach too. And
Yeah.
like somebody just reached out to me today and asked for a recommendation for a Greek dance instructor, because I think he wants to like learn from somebody. And my recommendation to him based on his location was a specific person, and I was like, this person could maybe teach you like Zebekiko and stuff like that, but that's not what they teach. They teach traditional, and you're going to be able to dance like how you dance on the islands and stuff like that. And I think just being able to say that and bringing that kind of teaching, whether it's embedded in another dance or just teaching it in general to the people, that you're working with, I think is so important, because it gives people the skills and the confidence to be able to go to a wedding, to go to a party in Greece, to go to, whatever they might be doing, and just dance and like free form it and just have fun, right? Life isn't scripted. I don't think our dance fully can be either.
I fully agree. And the nice thing that we've done in Gainesville for the past few years, and I would really love to see it done even more, is move that into the lyrical level as well. So both last year and this year, we personalized a madinada for our set. Like last year, I made a madinada for us, and it was talking about our musicians and where they're all from. This year, we did the same thing because in Zarakas, they'll also be riffing madinadas on the spots, and they call them madinadas even there, riffing madinadas on the spots during a sirto. So they can dance sirto for hours and hours and hours. Sirto being calamat, the typical calamatino form that they call it sirto. Riff doing sirto, starting with the most popular madinades, doing, very popular madinades for a bit, and then going on the spot. And so we did the same thing this year. We made a little madinada for our band Dedasi, and it just brings the set together. It makes it feel more real, and the
Mm-hmm.
musicians love it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So cool. I need to like hang up the podcast and go watch your
And
set
just go
again.
watch it again. So you know all these little inside, like, oh my God.
Right.
Easter eggs.
Right.
That's what they're called.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's also very authentic because that's what would have been done.
Exactly.
I think there's a big push to be less scripted, to be less, choreographed, even though I guess we're choreographing unchoreographed stuff kind of thing too.
Right.
But for the most part, I think there's a big push to move away from that and to have people be more naturally with their body type. You're going to dance differently,
Right.
and that's being encouraged, which I think is great because we all have different styles.
Right. Exactly. And it's being able to just, make up variations, do it on the spot. That takes a lot of time, and that takes many, many years. And so, I mean, even with people that might, look like they're going on the spot, you never know what's going on in their head. You never do. But I mean, yeah.
I think about the dumbest stuff when I'm on stage. Like what comes into my mind is I think there's probably something diagnosable there, but I literally think about the dumbest things.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I think it's like just my nerves. So I'll think about like I couldn't even remember, but it's almost like you kind of like I don't want to say you black out because you don't, like you're up there, but I think like your mind just wanders, at least for me, right? Like I'm not worried about necessarily the steps. And maybe I should be. I haven't watched our videos. So I probably should be worried about the steps, but I think the point being like as you're directing groups, like getting people to be confident enough, to be able to kind of rip and freeform, like should the dance be agreeable to that is so important because like for example, this year, the stage, depending on the shoe that you were wearing, was a little bit slippery, right?
Yes.
So, like, if you have to, yeah, Nico, it was interesting. So, if you have to kind of like,
Also, a bit entertaining at times.
yeah, but if you have to like pivot or whatever, right? Like, you need to be confident enough in your skill in the dance to be like, all right, I'm just going to like, instead of spinning around like a top because I'm afraid I'm going to fall over, I'm going to kind of just do this or whatever. And I know it's going to be authentic. I know it's still going to work. But I don't think you get to that point until you have like a level of comfort and confidence with the dance, with the music, with the body movements, with like the whole feeling. And I think it takes a really good director to get people to that point.
Yeah.
you
And
know?
that goes back to what we were talking earlier about the set. So, like, changing the set every year and trying new things is nice because you're trying new things, you're spreading yourself, but at the same time, focusing on a specific area allows you to reach that depth down the road.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
doing more of the kind of stuff would allow with that spreading out a little, especially with college students. I feel like younger people in general want new things, exciting things that make sense for us to try something new. But being able to really hone in on a region is nice because then you can be a resource for others.
Absolutely.
It's funny because I wanted to ask, what kind of advice would you give somebody? But it almost sounds like you, you kind of answered that. I mean, what kind of advice would you give someone wanting to direct or kind of maybe in the same situation that you're in?
I mean,
having.
I would tell them to really try and find knowledgeable people for advice, and then they themselves to try and go out there. Reaching out to people is the biggest resource. So like all of the years when Paul was directing by himself, last year when we were co-directing, this year when it was me, you have to accept that no matter the region, there's other people that will definitely know stuff that you don't know. So reaching out for Kalymnos, I was reaching out to like Anna Mavru, I was reaching out to Epi, all of these different people that know the stuff and can help you out. And the thing that you mentioned about that one dancer, reaching out to you, trying to find a director, you pointed them to a director in the region, they can help you out. That's the best way to go. Now, for somebody who maybe knows a region and wants to learn something completely new, like what I had done with Zaraka, I mean, I basically did the same thing because I knew that Bariami was the main person for this area. So I got his book, I got workshops, I went up there looking through YouTube, practicing. That's all I can really do as a college student that can't travel to Kremasti.
Yeah. And
Totally get that. Awesome. I think, how do I want to phrase this? Now I feel like I need to like listen to Joe Rogan and feel like I can throw in some Rogan-esque questions. So sort of thinking, and I do realize that like you just got off the plane, as did I, but what's next in like the short term future for your group and the long term? Like how, in terms of your academics and stuff like that, how long do you hope to sort of be in this role, and what's kind of coming up next for your group? What are you maybe looking to study with them?
So my future in specific is very uncertain right now because I'm currently applying for master's programs. So it'll depend on where I end up. I might end up back in Gainesville and continue directing. If I'm not directing here, there's things in the works. The program should be fine. No matter what, dancing is going to continue. It is a little aspect of where I go. I would love to go somewhere where there's something set, something where I can go and learn more stuff. But even if that's not the case, if I go somewhere where there's not trying and starting something there and getting something new.
I had a feeling that was going to be the case. It's once you get the bug, it's kind of like I'll take it. It's fine. I'll make do.
And of course, Greece. Greece is coming up. I'll be going to Kalymno for as long as I can over the summer.
Good. Bravo.
George, this was fantastic. Thank you, for your patience with our scheduling.
It's always difficult with the East Coast, West Coast thing for us a little bit, but...
And congratulations again, and you're so humble.
Thank
congratulations.
Yeah.